My name is Anton Fritz, and I am a Senior Program Manager on Power BI team. And today, we are going to talk about how Power BI and Microsoft Information Protection are going to change the way secure BI looks. So just first question, how many of you attended yesterday's Enterprise Information Management Roadmap? So we have 3 people here. And how many of you attended this morning a sitter session with similar subject? We have 3, 4. OK. So some of it will repeat of what you saw, but we have a bit more time, so we can go to Q&A a bit later in the session. So I will let you know from what point we can start asking questions and have a dialogue. OK. So just a few words about where Power BI at this point. So Power BI vision is to drive a data culture. This means we want to help organizations to become more data-driven, change the way organizations make decisions, and help them leverage all the data and information they have in order to become better organizations. So empower every business user and organization on the planet to achieve more with their data. And as you all know, there is a lot of data out there. So Power BI has become in the recent years an industry leader in the BI domain. So we are recognized both by Gartner and Forrester as leaders in the BI area. And together with this, Power BI has become adopted by many, many enterprises. If we look on the Fortune top 500 enterprises, 97% of them using Power BI. And with this also grows the scale of Power BI. So Power BI processes a lot of data. So we have 30 petabytes of data ingested into Power BI. 35 million reports and dashboards hosted in Power BI service. 15 million queries processed per hour. So it's a large-scale product for large-scale enterprises. And we see this growth also reflecting in our deployments. We have a really, really high growth in large deployments in the past few years. And basically what happened, what's happened with this growth is that Power BI is turning from being only a self-service BI product, which is adopted by several departments in organizations that install Power BI to help them be better and do their own reporting. Power BI becomes a centralized BI solution for enterprises, which changes the business requirements we are getting from our customers and the demand for governance and data protection capabilities. So this involvement of Power BI, we are adding new feature to enable manage the data in Power BI in large organizations. So we provide more and more tools about how you handle organizations that has hundreds and even thousands of Power BI reports. We advance our analytics capability and enable them to manage advanced enterprise apps. We also enable them to run their analytics on enterprise-grade platform. And with this new release, we also enhance the data protection capabilities for these organizations. And this is what we are going to focus in this session. So when we hear from our customers about need to be better in data protection, provide more capabilities, we turned on to our partners in Microsoft. Microsoft is one of the leading companies in security, handles more than 5 billion threads blocked per month. It has more than 35 professionals working on security. It's researchers, developers, analysts, that all they do security. So Microsoft has really, really great security assets that Power BI connects with. And this is what we're going to show here. So what we are doing in Power BI. Power BI already today has some security capabilities, which are really good. We have access permissions, row-level security. We are encrypting the data as it uploaded to the cloud. All of this already available today. With Ignite, we are announcing about new capabilities. First of them is the ability to bring your own encryption keys. So many organizations require for the data to be encrypted. A new requirement has came that organizations want to actually hold their own key. They don't want Microsoft to have their own key. They want to own the encryption key and control it. So this is coming new at Ignite. Another new announcement, very exciting, is collaboration with Microsoft Cloud App Security to enable organizations to monitor and protect user activity on sensitive data in real time. And another new capability we are announcing at Ignite is actually ability to leverage Microsoft information protection sensitivity labels to classify and label sensitive data in Power BI. And the added value here is that these labels will persist when data is exported outside of Power BI to Excel, PowerPoint, and PDF files. The beauty of this integration also is that the Microsoft Information Protection Sensitivity labels already used by many organizations in order to classify and protect their Office documents, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and they're also used in Outlook. And Dennis will talk about this in a minute. They're also going to be available in additional Microsoft products soon. And to complete this story, we enhance admin oversight. So data protection is for admins. Admins care about data protection, and they need tools in order to allow the organization to be productive and to use best services and best capabilities that are available. But on the other hand, they need to make sure that the data is protected and that they meet the regulatory requirements. So we are going to introduce a bunch of new admin oversight capabilities. So here are a few of the main messages that we heard from our enterprise customers in regard of data protection. So data protection is actually top of mind of every central IT team in every enterprise. With new regulation like European GDPR and other regulations coming up all the time, the data protection becoming really, really top of mind at this point for many organizations. So what they care about? As administrator, they want to ensure that the data in their organization is protected and they can manage who can access this data. Organizations want to provide tools for data creators, people, the business analysts who create different reports in Power BI. They want to provide them tools to protect the data before they share it and do it in an effective manner. They want to have oversight. All the administrators that we talked with say, I need to be able to say where sensitive data is available in my company and who can access it. I need an oversight in order to improve my organization to adopt Power BI wider, to deploy it to additional users, or to upload new data types. And, of course, privacy and regulatory requirements. Each organization has a different set of requirements, but many of them are translated in the end, hey, I need to see what are the different data types and who can access them. So we will start with our first new capability, ability to bring your own key. How many of you know bring your own key feature from maybe other products? Okay, we have a few. So basically, just in a few words. So when for data at rest to be protected, the common practice is to encrypt it. So when the data is encrypted, even if somebody gets access to this data, they cannot read it because they don't have the encryption key that translated to consumable format. Today, up until today, the encryption key for the data encrypted by Power BI was owned only by Microsoft. Now, we enable you to create your own key in Azure Key Vault and use it as an encryption key for the encrypted data in Power BI. You can assign separate keys to separate premium capacities in Power BI. And also, using Azure Key Vault, you have an option to revoke access at one location. Cool. Now I would like to talk more about the new labeling capability in Power BI, leveraging Microsoft Information Protection sensitivity labels. But before we start, I will ask Dennis to come to the stage and tell us about what is Microsoft Information Protection.
Hi, hello everybody. Hope you have some time to hear about MIP. How many of you know what is Microsoft Information Protection or Azure Information Protection? Oh, quite a few. Wow. Okay. It will make my life easier.
This is why they came.
Yeah. Okay. Then I assume because most of you know what's MIP or AIP, you have seen this slide. Then the world of data is growing dramatically. Then about 90% of our data was created in the last 2 years. We spent in 2018, we spent about 2.8 million years online, all of us. And according to the researchers, it's expected that the next year, each one of us is going to create 1.7 megabytes of data every second. Then the biggest challenge now with the data, it's not that, we now all agree that we have sensitive data. There were times that we needed to argue with the customers. They told us, we don't have sensitive data. Then everybody understands we have sensitive data. But the challenge now is that we have so much data that we struggle on how to find the sensitive data. And Microsoft Information Protection tries to help you with is it this one? Tries to help you to first answer what is your data? Tries to answer on the first question, do you know your data? Means where is your data, where it is created, who creates it, and the most important thing, what is important and what is sensitive and what is not. Because like 90% of your data is going to be some internal data that is not really sensitive. It's your business data, but if it will be leaked, it's not that problematic. Right? But this 10% of data which is sensitive, it's going to create a lot of trouble for a business. It can embarrassment, you can be legally sued, you can violate regulations, you can lose 4% of your revenues according to GDPR, not profit, revenues, just because you violate the regulations. Then the problem with the sensitive data becomes more and more bigger and bigger, and this is what Microsoft Information Protection tries to deliver to you. Then first of all, you need to know where is your data. Once you know where is your data and what is your data, we provide you a set of tools, set of APIs on how you can protect it. And the first thing when I talk about protection, people think about encryption. Yes, this is the most, let's say, effective and most secured way to protect your data, but it's not the only thing. And the first step in protection is just telling this data is confidential or this data is secret. Just put this tag on the data and make your users aware of sensitivity of this data. You cannot struggle with the entire world as information protection administrator to try to secure data. You need all employees to be in this story and to contribute to it and to understand that they are responsible for this data. Without help from your end users, you will not be able to secure your data. And tagging data, putting a label on the data, this is the first step on helping them to understand that they work with something secret or with something confidential. This is what MIP, Microsoft Information Protection, provides you as a first step of protection. Next step can be visualize it, add some bar with a label, add some footer, header, watermark, and eventually encrypt the file. And not only encrypt the file, ensure that only people that should be able to access this file will be able to access it. How many of you sent an email and told, please do not forward it? Or how many of you shared some file with somebody and then thought, will he reshare it? Will he download it and send somebody else? Then this is what MIP provides you. It tells, it doesn't matter if the recipient of the file hasn't view access to this file, he will not be able to reshare. And even if he takes this file and forwards it to somebody or puts it on some public location, only people that your admin decided that should be able to read this file will be able to read this file. And it's done in some technological way. There is an encryption, there is a service that takes care of it. But for you as an end user, you can be sure that if you put the right label on the file, your admin defined who will be able to access this file. And this is your part as an end user just to tell this is sensitive. Admin will do his job to tell what does it mean sensitive. Then we started with this journey of encryption in 2005 as Azure RMS. About 4 years ago, we added the labeling layer because we understood that end users don't understand encryption. They need to speak business language. And about 2 years ago, we got very, very strong feedback from customers that Microsoft confuses them. We have Office Information Protection, Office DLP, Windows Information Protection, like a Windows DLP. We have Azure Information Protection. And the customers told us, we don't understand you. You create so many products. They don't talk to each other. We need to invest tremendous efforts in maintaining them, connecting them, bringing some partner that will link between the solutions. And that's why we told, OK, we heard you. It took some time. It was not on the first feedback, not the second. And we told them, OK, we will go back and we will think about it. And we came with the concept. We told, OK, we are not going to rewrite everything from the scratch because these are good products. We just need to make them more unified. So we should have one set of labels understood by all workloads. We should have one set of policies that security admin defines, and all other workloads, SharePoint, Exchange, now Power BI. No, Power BI admins should not worry about security. They should just tell, we want to follow the same security that security admin defined. And security admin will define what's needed. Then this is what Microsoft Information Protection about. And we worked hard in the last 2 years. Then finally, we have all these workloads, Office 365 services, launch a bunch of integrations in this Ignite, SharePoint Online, understand most of what MIP provides right now. Productivity apps, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook on all platforms have labels built into the applications. It means every user that installs Office that was opened last month will be able to label its content and see the current sensitivity of the file. Cloud services, we take care of third-party clouds through the Microsoft Cloud App Security. Alex will show it later. Then we don't think only about Microsoft. We understand that you have data outside Azure. Hopefully, everything will come into Azure sometime. We don't forget the on-premises. There is a solution for scanning on-premises data, file shares, and SharePoint, and find sensitive data there and label and protect it. We integrated with Windows Information Protection, which is the first step of DLP in Windows, and with Edge Browser that announced a bunch of integrations with MIP in this Ignite. And finally, we came to the Power Platform. And the first thing in the Power Platform was Power BI. Why was it Power BI? From our perspective, Power BI is a bridge between structured data. Almost in most companies, structured data is much more secure than unstructured data. Your SQL is more secure than the file shares, your data lake, other data sources, usually in some secure place. It can be some virtual secure place or physical secure place. But Power BI, what it does, it allows regular users to get access to these sources. And as long as the data is displayed inside Power BI, we rely on the security inside Power BI. Anton described about BYOK, ACLs, management of secure access inside Power BI. But what happens when this user just download the file? They can do whatever they want with this file. And this is one of the biggest backdoors, how these users can accidentally or intentionally leak the data from your data sources. And that's why it was very important to us to go after this application, which is the first application outside of Office Suite and Microsoft that adopts Microsoft Information Protection. And now I'm handing over to Anton to talk about the use case itself.
Thank you, Dennis. So basically, what is out there now? Here you can see that in Power BI, users will be able to see and apply sensitivity labels. These are the same sensitivity labels that are defined by the global admin or the security admin of the organization, and today used in Office. Now they're available to being applied on Power BI datasets, reports, dashboards, and data flows. The label that is set on the Power BI artifact is going to continue with the data when the data is exported to Excel, PowerPoint, or PDF file. So, and as Dennis mentioned before, if there are any encryption policies, protection on the file about who can access it or cannot access it, this file will be protected as well. So in this case, if an unauthorized user will try to open a file that they shouldn't, they will get this message that they don't have permissions to view the content and connect your administrator. And why it was like so important for Power BI to address it, because the dilemmas that many of our enterprise customers have between blocking, so what they do up to now, so they have a choice between two options. Some of them chose to block export, block access, limit what data can be uploaded to Power BI just to be secure, but it was on expense of productivity because people don't have all the data. People like to export data to Excel and they could not. But this is the choice, they need to make a choice. Others choose to rely on their users to follow the data protection guidelines in organizations, but without any oversight or ability to control it. And this integration actually solves many of this stuff. So I will move to the live demo. Okay. So what you see here is a workspace. This is a new look of the workspace, something that is rolling out soon. And here I have all the assets that I have in this workspace. And as you can see, I can label data flows, data sets, dashboard, etc. And we'll start with the scenario of content creator. So I just finished creating this Customer 360 report. This report has very sensitive data. Now, with the Microsoft Information Sensitivity labels available in Power BI, in a simple manner, as part of my report settings, I can choose one of the sensitivity labels defined by my organization, and I'm done. That's it. I'm as content creator, I finish protecting the data according to my organization policy. Now, as a data consumer, the first thing, and it's a really strong thing, when I open the report, I already see that it's highly confidential. I can see what are the limitations. It's easier for me to not reshare sensitive data because I already know it's sensitive data. I didn't know this before. So when I interact with this beautiful report, it's nice, I have filters and everything, but the number one thing that people do when they interact with data, they want to get it into Excel. Excel is the number one tool for analytics. Everybody can use it. My kids use it. My parents use it. Everybody uses it. So let's see what will happen. So I'm a user. I saw it's sensitive data. Now export it to Excel file. Everything is good. So here you already see that Excel configures information protection rights management. And this happens behind the scenes. Basically, Excel with Azure Information Protection, they validated that I have access to this Excel file. Let's see if I can zoom on it a bit. So if you can see on top of the screen here, this Excel file is already labeled with an internal only, highly confidential label. And not only this Excel has rights permissions. So the rights permissions that are defined by the global administrator for this label are automatically applied on the exported Excel file. The same will work also if I would export the data to PowerPoint. Just for sake of time, I did it in advance. So this is, for the same report, I export the data to PowerPoint, and the PowerPoint is also labeled with the same sensitivity label, and it's also protected. Cool. So this was the first part of our demo. So Power BI has probably the best BI mobile application. It's downloaded by millions. It's used widely, has great reviews. And now, if your organization is using sensitivity labels, same sensitivity labels are going to be visible also for people who consuming Power BI reports and dashboards in mobile. So now probably the question you ask yourself is, how do I enable this goodness in Power BI? How? I want it tomorrow, what do I need to do? Simple. Well, if you're a Power BI admin, you just go to Power BI admin settings. If you're not, you're just calling him right now and saying, hey, we need to enable information protection in Power BI. And there are two settings here. One, to enable the preview. This will actually make sensitivity labels visible for all people in the tenant. And the second one, which is useful for gradual deployment and validation of the features, you can specify which are the users that are allowed to set sensitivity labels in Power BI, and this can help you start rolling out this capability. The sensitivity labels themselves are defined outside of Power BI. They are defined in the unified place, what Dennis mentioned before, the Security and Compliance Center, where your global administrator or security administrator or the compliance administrator, each organization have a different persona that does it, can define the labels that are fitting the business needs of your organization. And once they are defined there, they become available in Power BI. Just a note on this. So many organizations using currently Azure Information Protection sensitivity labels. In order to use sensitivity labels in Power BI, you will need to move them to this new center, to the Microsoft Information Protection Unified Label and Security and Compliance Center. There are quite a lot of documentation about how to do it. I have links about it. Licenses. So sensitivity labels outside of Power BI require a license. For applying sensitivity labels within Power BI, in addition to Power BI licenses, users will need Azure Information Protection P1 or P2 license, which are also available as part of Microsoft license suites like Microsoft E3, E5, and EMS E3, E5. So for the next part, I would like to invite Alex to the stage from Microsoft Cloud App Security. He will tell us a bit about Microsoft Cloud App Security and how it connects to Power BI.
Cool. Mic's on. Can you hear me okay? In the back, yes? Good. All right, so my name is Alex Esabov. I'm from the Cloud App Security team. And before I go any further, I would love to know how many of you know what a CASB or Cloud Access Security Broker is, just by show of hands. Okay. So probably less than half the room. How many of you actually have a CASB solution in place in your organization that you know about? Okay. And then is anyone, of those hands that I just saw, is anyone using Microsoft Cloud App Security? Okay, so we're down to about 5 folks in the room. So what I'm going to do is give a quick introduction of the product, and then I'm going to talk about what Dennis and Anton just talked about really is remarkable. You're securing your data using labels, using encryption, and with Microsoft Cloud App Security on top of that, you can add a whole new dimension of actually taking actions on top of those files based on the labels, as well as seeing all sorts of anomalous detections in your organization. So we'll get to all of that. What I want to start with is telling you a little bit more about what a CASB actually is, and specifically what makes Cloud App Security or Microsoft's CASB so special. So at its core, a CASB is a multi-mode sort of connection point for your cloud applications. You can think about the story this way. Right now in your organization, your users are using probably about 1,000, 1,200 maybe different resources and applications, and your IT department has probably sanctioned or is aware of about 50 of those. That's the average numbers we see. So those other 950 resources and applications represent what we call shadow IT, meaning they have no idea what it is, they have no idea the risks it poses, the security and compliance gaps within those applications. So first sort of point or first goal of a CASB, the gateway drug as we call it for a CASB solution, is for you to learn all about those logs, those applications, and learn what risks they pose. We have this catalog of 16,000 applications, 80 risk factors for each of those, so you can do a deep dive and understand, okay, of those 950 apps and resources I wasn't aware of, maybe 800 of them I need to block entirely. There's too many gaps, too many GDPR risks, too many compliance risks, they're not HIPAA compliant, etc. And then for maybe a subset of those other applications, I actually do want to enable my users to use those, but I want to add additional monitoring or control on top of those applications. If a user is coming from a risky session, maybe I want to block that application. Maybe I want to centralize identity so everyone can log in through an identity management solution like Azure Active Directory. So that's the first step. You find out what's in your environment, you figure out how to block it or mitigate it appropriately, increase the number of controls you have on top of it. Once you've got that, there's 2 more integration points, and these are the ones for the sanctioned applications, which of course Power BI would be one of them. That's why you're in the room today. So even for the applications that you say, yes, these are the good ones, I want my users to be using them, all sorts of threats and risks exist in those applications, right? Some of them are dynamic. Maybe my user is coming from grandma's PC that's riddled with malware. Maybe they're connected to public Wi-Fi. In those cases, maybe I don't want to let the users download documents to those devices. I want to let them continue to be productive when they're in Power BI in the cloud, but I want to make sure none of that data leaks to that device, to grandma's computer, to my phone that's not PIN protected, so that bad guys or folks that shouldn't be seeing that data can't get their hands on that data. So that's this reverse proxy integration that you'll see here in a second. That's one of the integration points. The other one is API-based. You'll see that one as well. The goal of that for the API controls is we want to see what kind of activities are going on in Power BI. What kind of reports are being shared? We want to characterize all of the users that interact with these reports. We want to know on a typical day, does Alex, one of my users, download 50 megabytes, 100 megabytes, 5 gigabytes, or what is his typical profile? And then once we've profiled every user in the organization, how they interact with those resources and those apps, then we can look at, is something anomalous going on? Is there a weird type of sharing or anything like that that we should be alerted to? So that's Cloud App Security at its core. Manage your applications more tightly, say what you want to use, what you don't want to use, and find out more about the applications that you do want to use. So before I turn it back over to Anton to show the first of those 2 scenarios, that reverse proxy that blocks the download inline, I'll show you sort of what that looks like here. And this can actually be applied to any app in your organization. The controls are generic, but the goal of it and the integration that we've done with Power BI really makes sure that it's a smooth end-to-end experience both across the proxy and the API. So when your user logs into Power BI, how many of you are familiar with conditional access in Azure AD? Great. Awesome. So conditional access, simple if-then statement, right? Based on the risk, I want to apply some kind of control. What you're about to see is an extension of conditional access. Based on the risk, I want to apply an additional control, and that control is limit what the user is able to do by proxying them with Cloud App Security. So that's what you're about to see today, right now actually, a risky session that Anton's going to lead, and then you'll see what the result of that session will be.
Cool. So So to show this, I will connect to another machine. And this is like an example that we hear a lot from our customers. So many of our customers have working from office, and many people in modern organization continue sometimes working from home, and not always they have the option to use the managed device. So in this case, I'm a business analyst that want to continue working on what I started in the office at home from my own machine. So I'm getting to the same workspace that I was in before. Let us refresh it. And I get, as Alex mentioned, the same smooth Power BI experience. I don't even notice at this point any difference, but this session is already monitored by Microsoft Cloud App Security, because my organization, while enabling me to connect from unmanaged device to Power BI and to interact with the data within Power BI, does consider this session risky because it's coming from unmanaged device. So I get into the same report. I can do all the things that I could do before. And while the data loads, so same report, same interaction, everything is working the same. And once again, I want to export the data to Excel in order to continue working on it. Only this time, the device is unmanaged. So while I'm exporting the data, all the traffic here is monitored by Microsoft Cloud App Security, and they identified that this report is highly confidential. So we have the notion of the sensitivity label that was applied on the report, and that I'm trying to download the data from a highly confidential report to an unmanaged device. And this is against my organization's security policies, and I'm blocked only on this section. So the beauty here is that I'm, as an organization, do not need to block users that come from unmanaged devices. I can allow them to be productive, to continue using Power BI whenever it's comfortable for them. But I can manage the risk using real-time controls and just define what actions I'm concerned about and let Microsoft Cloud App Security to block them. But it's not all.
Okay, so I mentioned that there are two integration modes for the apps that you do want your users to be using. There is the real-time controls, which is the demo that you just saw live. And there's also all of the monitoring that we can do behind the scenes to profile the users and understand where something anomalous happens. So we have about 57 different anomaly detections that we currently detect in Cloud App Security. Those are things that you can probably come up with yourselves, things like anonymous IP address access or impossible travel. I logged in from the US in 1 minute, and 5 minutes later, I logged in from Russia. Something's fishy there. So there's all types of detections that are built into Cloud App Security. And one of the major things that we're announcing specifically in partnership with Power BI is that we've built 2 detections custom to Power BI, both around report sharing. So the first one is this multiple share report activities that's currently in preview. And what that means is, again, we profile the user. We understand what their sharing patterns typically look like, especially when they're sharing with outside entities. And then if they suddenly increase the order of magnitude of the number of reports they're sharing, they're starting to exfiltrate sensitive data at a mass rate, then we profile that, we alert the administrator to that so they can go in and take actions. The second one is specifically around sensitivity. So this is a really, really cool example of the Microsoft Information Protection story, the labeling you just heard, coming together with Power BI, coming together with the anomaly detection engine inside of Cloud App Security to say, hey, we're detecting that this user who normally doesn't access sensitive data is suddenly starting to target that specific sensitive data and share that out in any quantity. So these are really, really cool detections that help you sort of gain this visibility. Our customers standing at the booth this week, countless customers came up to me and said, oh my God, as soon as we turned this on, we got alerted to all sorts of anomalies that we just had no idea were going on inside of our app ecosystem. So this is 2 examples of those specific to Power BI, but other generic sort of anomaly detections that we put on for any app in your ecosystem are also very applicable to Power BI. So things like impossible travel, log in from an uncommon location, and And there's plenty more that I could get into if I had a dedicated session for this topic on its own. The one other thing in terms of RBAC controls, and probably something that's super interesting to you, is I talked about this product, I talked about Shadow IT. That's a super interesting topic, but probably not for the folks in this room. What you care about is protecting Power BI, and that's why you're here. So what we've also done is created this Power BI admin persona. So you can actually go into Cloud App Security and have an admin role dedicated to only visibility on those Power BI activities. So those real-time controls, being alerted onto downloads that have sensitive data outside that were blocked, as well as these new sort of anomaly detections that we're picking up. So I'm super excited about this announcement, seriously. I think this is super innovative stuff. We're at the cutting edge of securing Power BI and BI solutions in general, and I think it's a really, really cool testament that we're able to do this partnership across Microsoft. So I'll hand it back over to Anton to wrap things up from there.
Thank you, Alex. So we already covered integration with Microsoft Information Protection Sensitivity labels, which enable you to classify, label, and protect data on export. Microsoft Cloud App Security, which provides you great capabilities to control what users can do. And now let's, to complete the story, let's see how it looks from the security admin or from Power BI admin perspective. So first, we are adding new protection metrics report to Power BI admin portal. It will light up in the upcoming weeks. Basically, what Power BI admin will get is visibility in one place about all the sensitive data in the Power BI tenant. So they will see which reports are sensitive data, who can access them, how they're being accessed, etc. In addition, if you're already using Microsoft Cloud App Security, some of the information coming from Microsoft Cloud App Security will be available already in the Power BI admin portal to start the investigations. So let's check it out, how it will look. So here I'm team, the Power BI admin that has connection error. I will refresh. So here my portal is loading, and here you will find a new tab, the Protection Metrics tab, that has the sensitivity labels information for this tenant. So I can explore it, I can see the cool information, but not only this. I have this cool link to go to Microsoft Cloud App Security. My global admin or security admin who uses Microsoft Cloud App Security used the new role that Alex mentioned to give me access to view Power BI data. And here I can see in one place all the security events that happen. So the security admins that monitors the organization application can see more information about Power BI, and Power BI admin can also access this data. Here, for example, we have block download that happened only 6 minutes ago. I can see the alert, and I can continue and investigate it in Microsoft Cloud App Security. So it's Adele Lewis. She tried to download the report on managed device, etc. Very simple. I also can continue and investigate this detection and other alerts using activity logs. So Microsoft Cloud App Security pulls in all the O365 audit logs, which include also Power BI audit logs. And then there you can find all the activities that are relevant in this tenant. Download block, log in, view report, etc. So the security admins get new tools to investigate security threats in Power BI. So to summarize, with the new data protection capabilities in Power BI, we're actually transforming how you can protect the data in BI service. We are not competing with anybody, but we don't see this available in our competitors, other BI products, leading BI products. It takes data protection to a whole new level. It enables you to consistent policies across Power BI and Office 365. It enables you oversight over sensitive data and who access it. You can protect the data on export. You can control access. And And it's not like the capabilities that are available only in Power BI. We are harnessing the best security products that Microsoft has to offer. And as these products evolve, the security capabilities in Power BI will evolve as well. And just to summarize it, like if up until now, administrators had the dilemma and they need to compromise between data protection and productivity, with these capabilities, we hope that they will not need to compromise as much anymore. Thank you.